Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining our live UX Masterclass. I hope you can hear me well. Please drop a message in the chat where you're watching us from, what city, what country. We would really like to know. Hopefully, sound is okay. Let me know in the comment if you can hear me properly. On the screen right now, you can see our agenda for today. Make sure to stay until the end of the session because we will answer some questions about UX. If you already have some questions in your mind, you can start with the questions in the comment. Okay, I see already we have people joining. Thank you so much. Hello, UK. Nice to see you. Before we actually go to the main part of the presentation, I would like to tell you a bit about UX Academy, who is bringing this masterclass today. Thank you so much. Okay, welcome, Dublin. Welcome. Nice to see you all. Nice to see you. Welcome all. Thank you so much for confirming that you can hear me properly. That's nice. So let me tell you a bit about UX Academy. We are a London-based training company, and we have been around for over 4 years. We taught students from all around the world. We taught thousands of students, and this would be our particular class. So as you can see, all the classes are live online, and it's approximately 12 to 15 students and one teacher. And you can basically, I would say, you can ask questions to the teacher, you can communicate with them. So that's the, I would say, benefit of the live sessions and live classes. Our students are coming from top companies. So we also have a couple of courses. So basically, depending on your knowledge, if you're a beginner, if you're advanced, so you can check what we are offering and join us, of course. So if you decide to join UX Academy, these would be the tools we're using. Slack is for the main communication part. Students are actually divided in a couple of teams, and one great thing is you actually work on the real-time project. So you will have one of the general Slack channel where you will be communicating with the teacher, another one with your team that you will be divided on, and as well the third one would be for the client where you will be directly communicating with the clients. We use Figma and FigJam, as you know, standard tools for prototyping. Classes are held over Zoom platform, and after the session is done, everything is stored in Google Drive, so you can have the access at any time. And one great thing about UX Academy, every week for 30 minutes, you have a mentorship session with the experts in UX, where you can consult about anything you need to make your course successful and as well to make your experience more, make your experience better. You can ask about career advices, anything you need to become a UX designer, since this masterclass is more about UX in general, and of course, how you can become a UX designer. And as well, at UX Academy, we're offering flexible payment plans. If you would like to check them, you can go to our website and see what's the most convenient payment option for you. So I don't want to hold you too long about UX Academy. Everything you need, you can check on the website. And I'm so glad to see people joining again. Hello, I see people from London, from Denmark. Nice to see you all. So if you would like to find anything about UX Academy, just go to myuxacademy.com when you can find all the relevant information. And for me, not to take too much of your time, I would like to welcome our amazing teacher, Natalia. She will actually start this session and she will explain everything you need from how to become a UX designer or anything afterwards, what you need to improve your knowledge and so on. So Natalia, please join us.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session about user experience. My name is Natalia Viritenik, and I am product designer. And today we are going to talk about the product design, UX design. We will touch UI design because all that is design. And I know you probably have heard about the design from different perspectives. And actually, everywhere is UX design, right? And sometimes it's just a title, but you will touch a design and user experience design in every field in the design. So I would like to start with the Don Norman. So remember this name, remember this phrase, because Don Norman, it's a father of the definition user experience, how we know user experience today. So user experience is how people feel about interacting with the product. So user experience as a terminology pop up just in 90s, right? So it's quite young field, and every day we discover something new. And I have to say to you that user experience is quite close to the our behaviors, how we think, how we behave with the physical world, and how we can translate that to the digital world. So we are close to the knowledge about psychology, about the cognitive. So everything related to the brain, we also can learn about the humans, put that to the digital world, and make the good impact. And sometimes it's bad impact, because actually we can manipulate with people. And I'm sure you found yourself in a situation when you are just scrolling, and you cannot stop. Or when you're opening like application like Netflix, you want to watch the film, but in the end, after 30-40 minutes, you cannot decide what film you want to watch, because you are overwhelmed with that amount of films, right? And that's how actually user experience work, right? So we learn about people, and we try to make this experience as much as possible comfortable. For that, we use tools like a personalization, right, to make that better for you and suggest something for you what really you will enjoy, right? And you will stay with our application or with our service and product. But actually, sometimes we work on something more exciting than just to trick you and put you in a situation when you're just scrolling nonstop, right? We can make, as a UX designer, life of people easier, right? And user experience is everywhere and in technology. And I think like 20 years ago, it was hard to actually imagine how digital work will be together with the cars. But nowadays, it's everywhere, right? So here is one of example that you can have your car, right? And highly probably if you have car and it's modern car, you have an app, right? Where you can control, you can see notification, right? You can see when is next time, and maintain what you have to do with your car, how is the temperature, right? How is the pressure, what you need to improve, and that can be your application. Of course, some cars have already displays inside of the car. You don't need even open the applications, right? So we are in the transition from some knowledge about your car and some information that displayed, and you need to know about the technical car specification, to the digital, when it's super easy and it's highlight you with the color, with some icons, that's something going wrong. Let's go and check. And we can help with that as a user experience designers. Also, user experience is around virtual work, right? So it's a very hot topic, right? And you probably have heard that next year, in beginning of 2024, Apple will release provision, right? So they one of the company who try to make this work finally done, right? And we are really expecting how we can work with virtual reality, and of course with augmented reality. I don't know if you enjoy augmented reality, but for me, augmented reality, it's all my life, because I moved to London. London, it's a huge city. It's very easy to lost, and I'm not so good in maps. So for me, it's a lifesaver. So I open Google Map, I open AR, I just scan the screen around me, and it show me where I have to go, in what direction. And in this case, I think it's probably one of the best idea how to use AR and how that's really can help people. So that's my probably top used application when I need to navigate in the city. But also, we can improve many things with digital products, right? And everywhere we need a user experience and make as much as possible this interaction between human and device, some service what we use as much as possible comfortable. And one of the example is Peloton. If you use Peloton, probably you're already familiar with that, how you can make something static, right? If we say about how you move around with your bicycle, you can make it dynamic, you can make interesting, you can collect the data, you can show the progress, right? And also when you're just in your home, in your room, how you make this more engageable, right? Because one of the program what you can select is actually driving in some lovely place, right? And that will calm you. Or if you speed up, right? So it will also increase the speed on the video. So that's so engaged, right? That push you actually use technology, use be more fitness, right? Because it's something that make you more fun, right? And it's engagement. And user experience also care about engagement, right? So we try to make our product, our service fun to use, right? And pleased to use for our users. We want it, they enjoy it when they are using our products. Another example, right? It's a smart home, right? So smart home, maybe you already have, but it's a future, right? So we can control our home from our device. So we don't need to think, have I turned off the lights when I left? You don't need to think about this. You can control it. Doesn't matter how far you are from your home. Also, you can heat your home before you arrive, right? So if it's a winter and it's a very cold day, right? So while you're away from home, you can down temperature. When you back, like 1 hour before, you can manage the temperature in your home. And that's a magic what you can do with your cell phone, right? So you don't need to be worried how is your home, how electricity there, right? So heating, cooling, so everything you can control from your device. And that's what is cool about technology. So you can use your technology almost for everything in your life, and every day we use technology more, we use more interfaces, to control things, and for that you need the user experience design. So if we're back to the definition, what is user experience, right, is interaction between artifacts and user. So user, it's you. User is everyone who use these artifacts. Artifacts is can mobile application. It can be Peloton with the lovely device in front of you that help you work on your physical activities. It can be AR, it can be VR, right? It can be just a website. So all that, it's your artifacts, you as a user, and all this interaction, what happened between, is a user experience. So as a user experience designers, we are trying to make this enjoyable, we are trying to make it as much as possible fun. And of course, as a user experience designer, we have some approach to work. So today I would like to explain one of the framework what we use as a UX designer to work. Probably you have heard about the design thinking framework. So design thinking framework is one of the most common framework to work in some global big project when you try to go from idea to the test to be sure that what you are implementing is really solving the problem of your clients, of your customers, of your users. So design thinking process include 5 steps. Is empathize. It's a process when you try to understand the user, you try to understand who is in front of you. Because when we are designing as a UX designer, we try to design something what we would like, right? So what we think is cool, but we are not the users. And we have to empathize with end user, with people who are using our product. And we try to understand actually how does it work, right, for these people. So we need to do some interviews, we have to do some research, we can run some focus groups, right? So we ask the questions, we ask them, we have to maybe go to the place where people live, where people work. So we try as much as possible understand their day-to-day life. And in my experience, I work on some project for pharmacy company, and I'm very far from this industry, and I need to design the dashboard for pills trials. And I was like, I don't know anything about this industry. How can I design for them a dashboard if they are expert and I don't know anything? How can I make their dashboard better? How can I help them make their life easier, their day-to-day task easier? So for that, I need to stay with them. I need to understand what they are doing, why they are not happy with the system they have currently, and how can I improve this system, right? So that's the main point of moment of empathize. Then when you empathize with user and you did research, you understand, you create, we call it personas, so you know who is in front of you. So personas is a semi-fictional character you are designing for, but actually it's a person who actually accumulates, summarize a lot of characteristic of your end users. So you know who is in front of you and you define the problem. So it's a moment when you define the problem statement, you understand what you need to solve, what you need to improve, or maybe you need to create something new what actually doesn't exist in this moment. And that's probably the most excited moment when you are working on user experience, because you are designing the future, right? And the future is actually today. Then, but you're ready with your problem, you define, you understand what you're solving, you understand what need your user, you are going to ideate. And ideation is a moment of creativity. So here you don't stop yourself. There are lots of interesting, fun activities what you take to make the process as much as possible creative, with sparkling the ideas. You use something like a crazy 8 exercise when you're creating 8 ideas in 8 minutes. That can sound very crazy, but user experience is all crazy, right? So you're trying to bring to the world new ideas. So you don't have any boundary. You're going as far as possible, and then you pick the right idea and you try to select what really will works. Then your prototype, based on the idea what you select in the previous state, you are prototyping. You try to make this idea to the product that user can use. But we don't start to develop the idea. We start first test the idea, and then when test is showing that we are in the right moment, we're in the right path, we're in the right way, we can go and develop the idea. So we are prototyping with the special tools like, for example, Figma or Sketch. We are designing the idea. It can be wireframe level, it can be mockups level, right? Sometimes it's just a sketching with paper and pencil, but we are making prototype, something that you can take in your hands, like for example, cell phone, and type it, right? So feel it, how this application will work actually. And then we are going to test. So with our prototype, we're back to our user, we test it, we see how is actually good our solution, it really works or it doesn't work. And that how work design thinking. The cool here is that we can use design thinking for almost everything in our life. You don't need to implement design thinking just for the digital product. You can implement that for any single problem what is around you. So you try to empathize your friends, family, you define what they are struggling, you ideate together, you think what is the solution, and you test this will solution work or not. But all this sounds very linear, but actually design thinking is not a linear process. And what is interesting about design thinking, that you can go from one step to the another step and make this process iterative as many times as you need. Because design thinking allow us test, see the result, and back to the previous step, maybe to the ideation, maybe to the define the problem, maybe even back to the empathizing if you probably have done something wrong in the beginning of the process and you didn't realize actually well and didn't segment well your target group, right? So you can work back and forward until you find the best solution. And I have to say to you, it's totally fine if you are going back and forward, because that's the process. That's the moment when you are finding something that really work for you, that really work for your client, that really work for your user. And of course, user is on the top because it's a user experience, and we always care about our users and who is will use this product. And one of the examples that I would like to show to you, it's a remote control, and probably you have this experience when you have lots of buttons on your remote control, and probably you don't use even half of these buttons, and you even don't know what they mean. In my remote control, I have here colorful buttons like a red, green, yellow, blue. I don't know why they are different color. I have here a red button off and off. That makes sense for me. It's pay my attention. So if I want to turn on, turn off, that makes sense. But what mean this A, B, C, D? Why it's a different color? When to use them? I have to say to you, no idea. And I am even afraid to play with this because I'm not sure what will happen. So if you see on this example what I have in front of you, it's actually a good example how you can make things easier for everyone if you actually apply design thinking method, you prototype and you test. And actually, maybe you don't need all these buttons because nobody used them, or at least your group of users, they don't really care about all that. And they maybe need just very simple remote control that include next and previous, volume, and probably that's all. You don't need to much add to your remote control. Maybe if you remember very first application when we just move from the physical world to the digital world, how it looks first players, right? So it was a lot of nice, of course, they were for good, for settings, how you can manage music sound, right? A lot of small settings that actually people who are just want to listen music that don't use that. And step by step, we move to the situation where we are now, right? When you just hit play and it's the best sound what you have, right? So you know that will sound good, and you don't need any single settings to think like add bass or remove and make it higher, smaller some sounds. You don't need to care about that. We found for you the perfect based on device what you are using. So that's about user experience. And of course, I would like to talk with you a little bit about you as a user experience designer if you think it's something right for you. So, what is the skills user experience designer has to have? So, we can split skills into parts. It's a soft skills and hard skills. So soft skills, it's for workplace, right? We think about how you can empathize with people, right? How you can empathize with user, how soft you are as a person, how can you communicate? Having interviews is not easy, right? And you need to have some special empathy moment when you listen people, you ask the question, you suffer their illness, their pain points, right? And you back with the knowledge. Also, it's good if you can communicate well, not just with users, but also with your team, because user experience designer, it's a key person in the team, right? So from user experience depend lots of decision made, not just what you are building, but also business decision. Because as a UX designer, you are moving the business, you suggest to business where to go, actually, in what direction, because you as a UX designer know everything about users. Of course, business care about many metrics. They plan something, they have planned for a year, 5 years, 10 years, but they are focusing on the product and the KPIs. You're focusing on the user. So as a user experience, you have to communicate with whole team, a business and developers and other designers, and make this communication soft and nice. And of course, think in the future. Collaboration with the team, because UX designer never alone, right? You can have a team that include another designers, right? Different levels. It can be junior designers, a senior designer, lead designer, creative director, but also your team can include product designer. You can include UI designer, UX designer. It can be a content designer. So you need to communicate between, right, to make the product cool. And of course, storytelling, because everything what we are designing, we are presenting, right? So we are presenting that to the team, to the stakeholders, to clients, right? And we have to tell a good story behind our solution. Because when we are designing and we are going from this tool to something better, as we believe it's better, you have to present that. And maybe it sounds too hard, but basically you sell your ideas to your stakeholders and you say, actually, do you know, we have to make the changes that will cost us XX hours, but it's for better, right? And you have to tell the story. Why? And of course, hard skills, right? So technical skills. Technical skills, it's all about your tools, right? What you use for designing, right? Like, for example, Figma, Sketch, maybe InVision, or any other app that you are going to use for design. And you have to be a pro to make it. Of course, you have to Warframe a lot. So it would be nice if you become a pro in one of the design tool and tool that your team use. And you can very quickly warframing, prototyping, so very quickly produce the ideas, test these ideas, right, and see if something works or you need to have another idea, right? So you need to be expert in the design tool. But also user experience include methods for research, and you need to know it's about theory and practice. So there are lots of methods for research. So that can be focus group, right? It can be interviews, it can be surveys, and you need to know what method use in what situation based on what criteria and what outcomes to get from your research. And of course, when you are designing the solution as a UX designer, you have to know behavior design and interaction design, because in the end, you as a UX designer, you present the application, right, with the movements on the screen, taps, right, so where user tapping to achieve something. You have to think about the transition between the screens, how easy, how many steps it takes. You have to think about the user flow. You have to think about the number of steps to achieve the goal and what is the proper amount, right? So can be reduced. You need to also communicate with developers and find the solution how to make it. So all that, it's a hard skills, and you learn that with the time. So you start to work on a project, and from project to project, you learn methods, you learn about the tools. And one of the most common tool today is Figma. Probably you have heard about Figma if you are interested in design, in digital design. Probably you have heard. Last year, in the end of the year, Adobe bought Figma. It was the most expensive product on the market so far. So it was a very big deal, and Figma is now part of Adobe, but it's a very powerful tool. Adobe just released a month ago new features, and every day it's more and more powerful. So why I believe Figma is the best? Because it's not just for designers, it's also for developers. So Figma introduced dev mode, so you can work in collaboration, UX designer, UI designer, and developers. So that's a perfect combo. So you represent the user experience, so you're part of the job. It's a wireframes. Then you have user interface designers that add colors, they add fonts, they decide the style of application, shape of the elements on the screen, and then transit all that to the developers. So Figma allows you make all this. There are other tools on the market, and maybe you will join the team as a junior UX designer, and they use SketchUp. That's also a great tool, but that's tool that currently is a leader on the market. And I would like to talk with you a little bit about the role in UX design, because it's something that is important to touch, because we call user experience, but actually you have lots of fields in the design. And I met lots of people that switch from one field to the another field or learn more about the design, and they start to learn more about different kind of the design, and they become a product designer. So if you look careful in this diagram, you see on the top a product designer. And product design include user experience design, user interface design, and also content design, right? So user experience design is about user research and interaction design, and user interface design is a visual design and interaction design. And as you see, these fields, they cross, and maybe if you already have done some research, you have seen job position UX/UI. That's also very common. So if you are learning about user experience and you feel you are very good in UI design because you feel good colors, fonts, it's interesting for you, you actually can expand your knowledge and become not just a UX designer, a UX/UI designer. But also you can focus just on user research and become a user researcher or just a visual designer. That's also fine. And that's totally normal. And I met a lot of people that they start as visual designers, but they found that for them UX design is better. So I know that one of the most common question is about the type of design jobs, because so many companies around and not very clear where user experience design works. And actually, you can work in a big companies, you can work in startup, in the small businesses, maybe design agency, and of course, freelance. So in the big companies, I mean a company with 10,000 plus employees, it can be consultancy companies. They also have user experience designer inside of the company. And mainly most of the big companies, they have a team that help them in-house, right? So they try to build the company, the team inside that will support the company in different product. So it can be website, it can be mobile application, it can be some internal dashboards, it can be something to track your vacation and hours spent on work. So that's a lot of things you are doing for big companies. Even they are sounds like a tax company, why they need a user experience designer? But there are lots of tools they use in their day-to-day life, and someone have to make this experience great. Of course, startups, right? So most of the application what we use, like Spotify, YouTube, Netflix, Amazon, it's all startups. So they start as startups, and it's from something very small they become very big companies. And startup is something small in the beginning, and it's something unique, so you're working usually on some service or some application, then bring to the market and become very, very big. And I have to say to you that work in startup is quite interesting. I have this experience, and you start from scratch and you learn a lot. When you're working on small businesses and startups, you work as a UX, UI, you even sometimes help to make something for advertising, for marketing, maybe business cards, because startups, they don't have all range of the designers. So you will learn a lot. I have experience in the big companies, and currently I work in a big company. And that's also a very interesting experience because you have a very big team, you have a lot of people around you, you learn from them, you mentoring, you're coaching, you can find the coach who will help you to go to the next step and learn a lot. In a big companies, you more feel it. So you probably will have this clear definition what you are doing here. Are you user experience designer? You are user researcher? You are visual designer? You are UI designer? In the startups, usually you cover everything and you are learning by doing. And of course, freelance. So for me, freelance experience was amazing experience, and I could control my time. I could learn about how to budgeting, how to manage the client, how to manage client meetings, design brief, and it's also you're learning by doing. So you are boss of yourself, right? It sounds very cool, right? But from other side, you have to learn a lot about the business, how to pay taxes, right? How to make all about the money transfer, right? And all that, it's also on your side. And even maybe you will become a very expert in whole process and one day create your startup, right? Or your design agency based on what you learn from freelance. And one of the most common questions is, of course, about how much does a UX designer earn, right? So I would suggest to go one of the platform like Glassdoor and find your region where you are, find the level of your knowledge. So you are junior designer, you are senior designer, or you are planning to become senior designer to see your bright future. So on this screen, you see updated 1st of August 2022. So in the United Kingdom, right, average salary for junior designer, it's approximately £49,000 a year. So that's what can help you to find, to understand what future you have in your place where you are currently. But of course, you have to consider freelance. And even if you are currently based in North America, you can work for South America or opposite, or even you can work for Europe. It's happened in my life, and that was amazing experience. So I worked from Europe for North America and for Canada. That's quite nice experience. You met new people, you have new life experience. It's a little bit hard about time zone because sometimes we have 8 hours difference, but it's quite fun and quite interesting experience if you would like to try yourself in freelancing. So that's what I would like to talk about, the user experience, and I would like to highlight a little bit about UX Academy and UX journey with UX Academy. So what I found important for me as a user experience designer since moment I start this career, and I started 15 years ago, long time ago, it's that important to apply your knowledge. So it's good to learn theory, and you have to learn theory a lot. But what is cool is when you learn and you immediately apply your knowledge. And for that, it's good to work for client project. It's actually what we have, right? So in UX Academy offer to work with the client. And that's help you immediately apply your knowledge. Also, you are constantly in touch with clients, so you can ask questions, you ask for feedback, and you can have a weekly meeting with client. That actually sounds for me very good because you learn something during the week and you immediately apply to achieve the goal for real client. So you will gain some experience how to manage these meetings, right? How to talk to client, what kind of question ask to the client, right? And actually what you need to get through these meetings when you meet the client for the first time, and also how to present your final work to the client. So how look the structure of the week for UX Academy students. So 1 week include class, fun work, and mentorship. So during the class, you are with your lecturer and you are learning theory. You look at examples, some principles. So everything related to knowledge you are getting during the class. And of course, after each class, you get the fun work based on what you have learned. So you apply your knowledge and you are practicing your knowledge. So you are doing team activities because you are working in team. And that's also what is cool here. You are learning how to collaborate with people, right? It's good when you are working on yourself and you are like, all is cool, I'm designing, I know what I'm doing here, here is my result, clients happy, everyone happy. But what if your team, you have a other designer, right? How to talk to them, how to be sure that your idea well received, and if you have some critique, how you can respond to that, or how to provide the critique to the other ideas, right? And that's all about collaboration, and we need to learn. As I mentioned, it's about communication. A communication for user experience designer is initial. So that's a great opportunity for you to have a fun work or homework to understand how to work as a team and be good team player. When you need to listen, when you need to ask questions, when you need to maybe accept, have a compromise, right, and organize. Actually, teamwork is not so easy. So that's a great moment to learn. And of course, mentorship, right? So between class and fun work, you have a week, and for sure you will have questions, right? And here you have a mentor. So mentor will help you look at your blocker, right? If you have something that doesn't allow you do next step in your client project, mentor is there. So you can ask question, you get advices, you get support, and of course, anything related to the course you can ask, and that's what help you be better and unblock all the blockers what you have in your course. So everything what is not clear, you will have opportunity to ask, so you will be able to complete your week to week fun work. So the course take 8 weeks, and it's a live lectures. So each week you have a real-time conversation. So you're listening, you're asking question, and that's great and better than recordings probably, because you can in the lifetime ask question if something is not clear during the session. As you see, we have two instructions. One of them is me. So I help to learn week 5, 6, 7, and 8, but we also have another a lecturer that help you in week 1, 2, 3, and 4. And why we think it's a good approach, because every single lecturer will have their approach, right? How to present information, how explain, how to answer the questions. And it's good if you have different styles that will help you better understand materials. So you will learn about user experience, you will get intro. I already highlight some topics, but of course you need to learn more about user experience. You will learn about the research in a week 2, so you will know methods, and you will deep dive in research how to run, and you will practice, of course. Ideation, you remember design thinking, it's one of the steps. Wireframing, prototyping, user testing, and of course iterate your design, because as I mentioned, not always first idea is the best idea, most of the time is not. So you need to iterate and find the best solution. And of course, how to present, right? So in the end of week 8, you will have your final presentation. So it will be your case study for your portfolio. So at the end of the course, you have a solid case study for your portfolio, for a real client, real life project. So you can show that and be proud, because it's not just a training project, it's a project where you really make an impact for a client. So that's all what I would like to present today. I hope you enjoy. I know it's a lot of information, but I hope you have a question, so I will stay here until end. So please let me know in chat if you want to learn something more or you have any question regarding the course. Kate?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Natalia. This was wonderful. On my side, I want to give you like a short recap of what is about UX Academy. Here on the screen, you can see basically everything is basically our courses are 100% live, and they're usually in the evenings. I see we have already a couple of questions. We shall review them after this recap. At the end, of course, you get the certificate for participating in the course. You work on a real client project, and you have the mentorship on the way. So, Natalia, since you're already here and we have a couple of questions, we shall start reviewing them. First of all, I want to thank you so much for participating in this masterclass. Please continue with your questions. We shall go from the first one that we have, and then we shall move forward. If you have any specific questions, just drop them down and we will review them and answer them. First thing that I want to say is that I saw a couple of comments about is the session will be recorded. Yes, after this live is done, you shall be able to review it again at the our YouTube channel. So please, if you missed some parts or you want to rewatch it again, you can visit our YouTube channel here on the screen, as well as I shared. Here is a couple of social medias. We will put information about this particular video so you can watch it again. So we shall start first with the first question. Natalia, I think this is the best question for you. What advice would you give us when choosing the right course for learning UX and UI, finding longer courses, or focusing more on course where we can work on project, workshop, and so on?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So my experience, right? That's depend from you, how you are as a learner. So how do you feel? Can you concentrate on something for a long time? And you can I know there are some courses that take 6 months, right? So probably you will learn deeper, right? But is it okay for you 6 months to learn something? I know lots of people drop because for them it's too long process. And that's probably question more for you. So for me works short courses, for me works workshop, because workshop is something 4 8 hours, right? So that's quite nice. So I dedicate whole day, right? I prepare some knowledge about this topic, right? I have a list of questions, it's not clear for me, and go to the workshop and I can ask the expert. That works for me. And about 8 weeks course, right? So it's also can sound it's like a 2 months, right, of work, but it's intense. It's quite intense, right? So you can learn in 8 weeks the whole process, but it's still up to you how you feel comfortable. If 2 months you can dedicate every week, and you need like probably around 5 hours a week to dedicate to your fun work. So if you have time, that's probably will be the best option.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, we shall go to the next one. Maybe I can answer this one. I saw you have UX UI course in September. Is it 8 weeks? If I miss some classes, can I review them? So yes, of course, we have the upcoming classes scheduled for 13th of September. So as Natalia shared before, we actually have divided two teachers in 8 weeks. So I have 4 weeks with one teacher, the second 4 weeks with another. Natalia will be doing the last 4 weeks. And yes, after each session, everything is recorded so you can review the classes and slides afterwards. As I mentioned, if you haven't saw it in the beginning, we store everything in our Google Drive, so you would be able to review the courses after it's done. And I see a follow-up question. Also, do you have to have any experience? So maybe Natalia, you can answer this one.
Yeah, so the course build that you don't need, so good if you have, so you will probably drive your team, right, and help your teammates, but you don't need to have any experience, so it will be knowledge from scratch. So from definition of user experience to the case study, so you will have the whole range of knowledge.
Perfect, thank you. And let's go to the next one. I have graduated from uni with a camp science degree. Would you have to do? What would you have to do to transition into UX UI?
Yeah, so I also have a degree in computer science, and that's actually super helpful. And if you're really curious about user experience design and design in general, I think it's a very good transition. It will be quite smooth because you already know about the um, devices, right? You know about programming, you know about the backend, front end, maybe not so deep in web perspective, but you are very close. So UI will be for you probably very easy transition because you will talk to the developers most of the day. And UX, it's just a little bit knowledge what you have to learn, but really it's smoother when people from computer science move to the UX UI.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And okay, so we shall go to the next one. This is like the first part of the question. And then there is another one. So we know the design thinking lends itself to flexibility, by enabling teams to go back and forth between stages to solve problems, but sometimes it's over time. And the second part is what should we do to manage the time when we got the looping process out of desire?
Yeah, so it sounds like a paradise, right? So you can design until you find your best solution. But of course, we always have a deadline, right? So we work usually in sprints, so it's agile. I don't know if you have heard about that. So you plan the sprint. Usually it's between 1 and 4 weeks, very common 2 week sprint. You plan what you will do in these 2 weeks and see the result, right? So that's help us manage expectations. So in the end of 2 weeks, you have to have ready your prototype. You have to ready with test, and in 2 weeks we will know we are in the right direction or not. Do we need to redesign something or not? So you plan in small steps as a sprint runners, right? So you can more or less manage that, right? So, and of course, if you are trying and first prototype fail, right, you already learned something, so you are already going with the knowledge to the second prototype, right? And I hope in the third prototype that would be the solution you need, because each time during the usability testing you learn something, right, and you improve, and you make things better.
Thank you so much. Okay, this is an interesting one. Will the UX Academy course allow us to work with the other students, like front end developers, to really make projects feel real?
So yeah, we don't have, unfortunately, front end and back end developers. Maybe it will be next step. We need to speak to our stakeholders, right? Because I think it's a very nice idea. So in this case, you're not going to pass to the developers, but I because each time you work with a new client, and some client actually are very welcome, give you time to collaborate and talk to the developers. So I cannot guarantee that you will have the client with this access, but maybe, and you can speak directly to the developers.
Great, thank you. And also the same question from same person. Do we get the set amount of mentorship time per week? Or if we need extra, how does that work? Maybe I can answer this one. So, in terms of working on a mentorship, as I mentioned in the beginning, you have each week 30 minutes of free mentorship program with the UX expert. However, since you're the part of the UX Academy, you will have personal Slack invitation. Basically, mentors and teachers are available to answer your questions during the course. And of course, once the course is done, we should share information with you. So in case you need any extra, I would say, feedback or any extra questions, you can feel free to contact us back. I'm managing the courses, so I'm there to help you get the best experience. So if someone needs any extra information, you can always contact me. I would say your first line to all of the questions you need. Okay, and we have another one. Could you expand what was unrealistic about it? So I'm not quite sure the specific part of this question. Maybe you can specify in the comments so we can know exactly what you're talking about. But of course, anything you need related to the UX Academy and of course our upcoming courses. On the screen here, you can see our email where you can ask any questions you have. And as well, we have the option to consult with a course advisor. So you can reach them directly and they will explain the whole process and the details afterwards. Um, okay, I see another question. Also, is there still a lot of work in the UX design? Maybe this is your part, Natalia.
Yeah, that's like a worries in all designers in the world, right? So will AI replace the humans, right? So I guess we are very far from that. Based on what I know about AI and how I use AI, how we test AI and implement in a client project, artificial intelligence. So I would say you always have opportunity, and it's depend from where I'm looking for a job, right? So it's depend the country, right? So some country they are heavy technology, another country no. Maybe you need to move to another country, right? Or another city, depends, right? So where you're based, and it's depend of your portfolio and your quality as a UX designer, because if you are a good UX designer, you will find the job, like no question. I have seen some statistic about user experience in the future of user experience in design looks very bright. So if you will work hard on your portfolio and your knowledge, for sure you will find the job.
Great, perfect, thank you. I saw another question here. Do you have a UX course every 2 months? So, as Natalia mentioned, our courses basically last for 8 weeks, and there is usually, I would say, a small break between the first and the upcoming course within a week. So each course is happening week after the first one ends. So let's say approximately we have continuous courses after 8 weeks of each one. So also we have another question. I'm interested in data analytics and visualization service and behavior design. Do you think it would be beneficial to do a short course on one or some of these prior joining UX course?
Oh, that's interesting, right? So data analytics, visualization. So I would say data analytic is more data scientist, right? So I have some experience to work with data scientists close and provide them some guidelines how to visualize the data, what they provide, right? So visualization, it's actually can be even another topic in design. So you can become an expert in data visualization. Like if there is a data scientist, they code data, right, to get, and you can be expert in how to visualize that. So definitely will be beneficial to know about the user experience, right, and basic knowledge about that. But more, I think here you need to focus on data scientists and look from this perspective. So it's slightly different field that user experience in general, but basic knowledge in user experience is always welcome.
Amazing, thank you. So we shall go to the next question. If you have any additional question or we missed something, please point out in the comments. But the next question is, how would an experienced UX designer produce an alternative to signing to someone to somewhere like a hotel lobby with a human?
So how would an experienced UX designer produce an alternative to signing in someone to somewhere like a hotel lobby? You mean like a solution, how to make it? So you would like me to design? Okay, so it's like a crazy 8 exercise, give me pen and pencil. So I'm not sure like what is the expectation of this question, sorry about that.
No problem. I mean, if you're still watching, please let us know how we can specify the question. Okay, we shall go to the next one. With UX being a trendy career, lots of recent layoffs in tech, including UX UI jobs, aren't as plentiful as they used to be. Do you anticipate this getting worse before it's getting better?
So that's happened, right? So we're all aware about that, right? So in my 15 years of experience, I have to say there's always in this way. And probably you remember about crisis 2008, right? And it was crisis in coronavirus period when was lockdown. It also was panicking for a lot of companies. They cut the staff, and that's also happening. And it was just in 2020. Now we have another crisis, 2023. So that's happening. So this shake always happening, but as I say, it's always go down, up and down. So today you have a bad, next day you have a good. So because I'm constantly monitoring their positions, I have to say it was a period when big companies like Meta, Google, Spotify, they stopped to looking for a designer. Now I see tendency again up. So I see again on LinkedIn job offers from these companies. So it's a slightly step by step growing up. And also what I would like to mention, it's about AI, right? So now companies are a little bit like a froze to see where to invest, right? So everybody like think like where we have and what direction we have to go. And based on that, of course, you have to take a decision what stuff you have to contract. If you remember, we had a moment when we talk a lot about machine learning, right? And that was like a red flag. If you add machine learning to something, it was like, yeah, we need to invest in this. Now we are like, do we need to invest in AI, or we have to be careful? So that's also a moment when like taking a decision, what's going on, where invest money. As soon as market again like a calm about, and it's clear for every businesses what mean AI and how they can implement, they again start to contract people and start to work on their and develop their products. And they need designers, different capabilities and knowledge.
Okay, I hope that answers the question. Also, just I see here another question. What's the date of your UX course, and do you have any courses in November? So I think here's the answer one more time. Thank you for replying. Yes, we do actually have the upcoming course scheduled for 13th of September. And then since the course lasts for 8 weeks, the last 8 week would be on the 1st of November. So according to the plan and everything, the upcoming next course would be starting on the 8th of November. But currently, all of the updates regarding the courses and the dates are frequently updated on the website. So make sure, as you can see on the screen, make sure to visit myuxacademy.com, and you can check what's the recent upcoming course and what's the next scheduled date, because we update the course dates after the new one starts. So if you have any questions about if you want in the future, if you're unsure about current start date, let's say since it's 13th of September, you can email us asking about the next updates and we shall reply to you. Um, Okay, I see here. Are there also an additional free courses after this tester session? Yes, actually, we do frequently do like these type of masterclass. We had one 3 weeks ago about advanced UX design. So just go to our website, and on the top of the page, you will see the free master classes. So you can click there. This one will be stored on the website. The second one will be is available, so you can watch the recordings. But the courses that are lasting for 8 weeks, 6 weeks, they're paid. But you can also check the payment plans, since we're offering flexible payment plans. I see another question. What A tools are out there and that complements UX design?
Yeah, so there are a lot of AI tools, like a Framer, for example, when you can just write the text about landing page you want to design, and it's well designed for your landing page. So you just put the paragraph of text what you're expecting, and you will see how to generate the Framer for your solution. And then you can play a little bit with colors, what AI suggests. A lot of the AI tools implemented, and even maybe you don't feel it, but that's improve and make things easier. For example, like Adobe, they implement a lot of AI on the backend. So when you are looking for one specific image, right, and you have, for example, two elements on the screen on the image, and you need just one of them, you can easily remove. So in backend, it's AI doing that, right? Or if you need to like a split background and image on the picture, you can make it very easily, and that's again AI. So I would suggest you take a look in Framer. It's quite nice and fun to use if you are looking for like a design landing page. And there are a few more tools that can help, like generate for you some stuff like icons or suggest you fonts. So that can be also very, very helpful.
Okay, thank you so much. I don't see any other questions. So I guess we're done for today. Hopefully this session um, was useful to you. Yes, absolutely. This is valid information. Please send us any details you need about the course or anything you need, and we will reply to you shortly. So here on the screen, as I mentioned, this is our email. This is our social media platform. We also have the possibility on the website to contact directly the course advisor. So feel free to use all the options you need to make your user journey more better. And of course, if you'd like to learn more about UX design, feel free to join our classes, and we can't wait to see you. Natalia, thank you so much again for holding this
Thank you.
session. And I wish everyone a lovely rest of the day. Thank you so much, and hopefully see you next time. Bye.
Bye bye.